A nested if statement is just one if statement inside another if statement. So let's take a look at an example. Let's say that there's a home loan program and there's special financing available if you meet these two minimum requirements. You have to be making $40,000 a year in income, and you have to have been on your current job for 5 years at least. Okay, so we can represent this in a flowchart. At the top of the flowchart would be the decision whether income is greater than or equal to $40,000. The answer to that question could be either yes or no. If the answer is yes, then we want to check whether the number of years this individual's been on the job is greater than or equal to 5. If the answer is no, then we should just print NA. They don't qualify for the loan. If the answer to the second question is yes, that means their income requirement was met and then their years on the job requirement was met. So in that case, we should print out that the applicant qualifies. But if the answer to the second question is no, even though they are meeting the minimum income requirement, they're not meeting the minimum years on the job requirement. And so we'll have to print out NA in that case as well. Assume the following in this example. 1. The nested if function is assigned to cell B9, which will display one of three values. 2. Cell B4 contains the sales revenue. 3. Cell B21 contains the sales revenue for a bonus of $3,500. And cell B22 contains the sales revenue for a bonus of $5,500. So just to temporarily change cell B9, we can have a nested if statement equals if B4 is greater than or equal to B21. And we can remove this absolute reference here. If B4 is greater than or equal to B21, then check whether B4 is greater than or equal to B22. If B4 is greater than B21 and greater than B22, then we'll end up with a $5,500 bonus. If cell B4 was greater than B21 but wasn't greater than B22, then we'll end up with a $3,500 bonus. And if cell B4 wasn't greater than or equal to B21 or B22, then we'll end up with a $0 bonus. So here we have a nested if statement, or a nested if function, which instructs Excel to display one and only one of the following three values in cell B9. Either $5,500 if both of the if statements are true, B4 is greater than or equal to B21, as well as B4 is greater than or equal to B22. Or we'll end up with $3,500 if the first if statement is true, but the second isn't. So if B4 is greater than or equal to B21, but then we check and find out that B4 wasn't greater than or equal to B22, then we'll end up with a $3,500 bonus. Or we'll end up with $0 as a bonus if we find out that B4 wasn't greater than or equal to B21 or B22. So if both the conditions were false. You can nest if functions as deep as you want, but after you get beyond 3 if functions, the logic becomes difficult to follow, and alternative solutions such as the use of multiple cells and simple if functions should be considered. Okay, so we can enter that in here, and then we can go ahead and we can toggle back just away from the formulas view, and then we can toggle back into the formulas view, and we can undo our nested if statement. Continuing on, adding and formatting Sparkline charts. This is in the middle of page EX 142 to add a Sparkline chart to the worksheet. Step 1. Page EX 142. If necessary, scroll the worksheet so that both columns B and I in row 3 are visible on the screen. Okay, and let's switch away from the formulas view. We wanted columns B and I in row 3. Select cell I4 to prepare to insert a Sparkline chart in the cell. Oh, and here the total is a little too small, so I'll just go ahead and expand column H. Display the Insert tab. Okay, so we wanted to select cell I4. Oh, and it looks like you must have skipped a step to get the total. Aha, yes. On page EX 140, select the Sum button to display the row totals in the selected ranges. Okay, so to determine row totals in non-adjacent cells, step 1 on page EX 140, select the range H5 to H6. Sorry, I should have done this sooner. H5 to H6. To H16. While holding down the Control key, select the range H9 to H14. Okay, so start with H5 to H6, and then with the Control key held down, select the range H9 to H14, and cell H16. Click the Sum button in the Home tab in the Editing group to display the row totals in the selected ranges. Okay, there are totals. And then let's go ahead and save the workbook. It's on autosave. And then pick back up with our Sparkline. So this is on page EX 142. And just one second, let me expand the window. With cell I4 selected, we're going to prepare to insert a Sparkline chart in the cell. This is step 1 on page EX 142. Display the Insert tab and then click the Line Sparkline button in the Insert tab in the Sparklines group to display the Create Sparklines dialog box. Page EX 143, step 2. Drag through the range B4 to G4 to select the range. Do not release the mouse button. Step 3. Release the mouse button to insert the selected range B4 to G4, in this case, in the data range box. Click the OK button shown in figure 3-36, Create Sparklines dialog box, to insert a Line Sparkline chart in the selected cell and display the Sparkline Tools Design tab. Okay, and that's this, where you see Sparkline up in green here. On page EX 144, and notice, by the way, this is just a little chart within one cell that's showing the revenue from January to June. You can see it going up and up and up till kind of the middle, a little past the middle. That's probably April, and then once May and June come, then going down and down again, but still higher than we started. So this is page EX 144. Step 1. To change the Sparkline style and copy the Sparkline chart, click the More button in the Sparkline Tools Design tab in the Style group to display the Sparkline Style Gallery. Step 2. Click Sparkline Style Accent 4 Darker 25% in the Sparkline Style Gallery to apply this style to the Sparkline chart in the selected cell, I4 in this case. Point to the fill handle in cell I4 and then drag through cell I16 to copy the line Sparkline chart. Select cell I18, and here on page EX 145 to change the Sparkline type, step 1. Select the range I4 to I16 to select the Sparkline charts. Click the Sparkline Tools Design tab to make it the active tab. Click the Convert to Column Sparkline button in the Sparkline Tools Design tab in the Type group to change the Sparkline charts in the selected range to the column type. Step 2. Select cell I18. Save the workbook again on the same storage location with the same file name. And we have autosave on, but if you don't have autosave on, just go ahead and click File Save. Formatting the worksheet at the bottom of page EX 145, continuing on to page EX 146, to assign formats to non-adjacent ranges. Step 1. Oh, and okay, we have operating income, good, okay. Step 1. Select the range B4 to H4 as the first range to format. While holding the Control key down, select the non-adjacent ranges B6 to H6, B9 to H9, B14 to H14, and B16 to H16, and then release the Control key to select non-adjacent ranges. So we have B6 to H6, B9 to H9, B14 to H14, and B16 to H16. And then release the Control key. Click the Number Format dialog box launcher in the Home tab in the Number group to display the Format Cells dialog box. Click Currency in the category list in the Format Cells dialog box. If necessary, select 2 in the Decimal Places box and then select $sign in the symbol list to ensure a $sign shows in the cells to be formatted, and then select the black font color $1,234.10 in the negative numbers list to specify the desired currency style for the selected ranges. On page EX 147, Step 2, click the OK button in the Format Cells dialog box to close the Format Cells dialog box and apply the desired format to the selected ranges. Select the range B5 to H5 as the next range to format. While holding down the Control key, select the range B10 to H13 and then release the Control key to select non-adjacent ranges. Click the Number Format dialog box launcher in the Home tab in the Number group to display the Format Cells dialog box. Click Currency in the Category list in the Format Cells dialog box. If necessary, select 2 in the Decimal Places box. Select None in the Symbols list. So the $ does not show in the cells to be formatted, and select the black font color $1,234.10 with the parentheses in the negative numbers list. And then let's go ahead and on page EX 148, step 3, click the OK button in the Format Cells dialog box to close the Format Cells dialog box and apply the desired format to the selected ranges. Select an empty cell and display the formatted numbers as shown on page EX 148. So for April, we have the currency style with the floating $, meaning the $, just kind of hugs tightly to the value. It's not fixed in place. And we have currency format out to 2 decimal places, but some of the cells don't have the $ symbol. And if we had any negative values, they'd be represented with parentheses around them. To format the worksheet titles, page EX 148, step 1. Press Ctrl Home to select cell A1 and then click the column A heading to select the column. So on my keyboard I have to press Ctrl Function and Home because the Home button on my keyboard you have to press Function and the left arrow for Home. So that might be just kind of a peculiarity of some laptops. Function and the left key is my Home button, and then Control Function, the left key would be Control Home. And that'll select cell A1, just take you to the very top of the worksheet. Step 2, click the Bold button in the Home tab in the Font group to bold all of the data in the selected column. Oh, so I was supposed to click the column A heading to select the column, sorry. And then in the Home tab, let's go ahead and bold all of column A. Increase the font size. This is step 3 on page EX 148. In cell A1 to 28 point. Increase the font size. This is step 4 in cell A2 to 16 point. Step 5. Select the range A1 to I2 and change the fill color to green accent 4 to add a background color to the selected range. With A1 to I2 selected, change the font color to white background 1. Step 7. Click an empty cell to deselect the range. Page EX 149 to assign cell styles to non-adjacent rows and colors to a cell. Step 1. Select the range A3 to I3 and apply the heading 2 style. So I selected that range, and in the Home tab in the cell style, click the Cell Styles button and then go ahead and find heading 2. Select the range A6 to H6, and while holding down the Control key, select the ranges A14 to H14 and A16 to H16. A6 to H6, A14 to H14, and A16 to H16. Apply the total cell style to the selected non-adjacent ranges. So that's again in the Home tab in the Cells group, the Styles group, Cell Styles, Total. Step 4. Select cell A4 and click the Fill Color button in the Home tab in the Font group to apply the last fill color used, green accent 4, to the cell contents. So that's just this spilling bucket icon here. Just click that button. And we also want to apply, this is step 5 on page EX 149, we want to apply that white background font color. So click the Font Color button in the Home tab in the Font group to apply the last font color used, so green with white text. Moving on, page EX 150, to copy a cell's format using the Format Painter button. This is a super useful feature in Excel. If we want to apply the same format from a cell, but we don't want to change the value, then we can do that with the Format Painter. So let's go ahead and take a look. Step 1 on page EX 150, if necessary, click cell A4 to select a source cell for the format to paint. So here the format is green with white text. Double-click the Format Painter button in the Home tab in the Clipboard group. So this is the Format Painter button here. It looks like a little paintbrush. And then move the pointer onto the worksheet to cause the pointer to change to a block plus sign with a paintbrush. Step 2 on page EX 150. Click cell A6 to assign the format of the source cell, A4 in this case, to the destination cell, A6 in this case. Okay, and isn't that very helpful? So now cell A6 has the same format as cell A4 because we used the Format Painter. So it's very helpful. With the pointer still a block plus sign with a paintbrush, drag through the range A16 to H16 to assign the format of the source cell, A4 in this case, to the destination range A16 to H16 in this case. Click the Format Painter button or press the Escape key to turn off the Format Painter. I'll press the Escape key. Apply the currency style to the range B16 to H16 to cause the cells in the range to appear with a floating dollar sign and 2 decimal places. So let's select the range B16 to H16, and we want to apply the currency style. So in the Home tab, let's just go ahead and in the Number group, from the drop-down menu, select Currency. Why does the currency style need to be reapplied to this range? Sometimes the use of the Format Painter results in unintended outcomes. In this case, changing the background fill color and font color for the range B16 to H16 resulted in the loss of the currency style, because what was the style of our source area? Well, it wasn't the currency style. And so when we use the Format Painter, the destination range didn't include the currency style. Therefore, we have to reapply the currency style to the range results in the proper number, style, fill color, and font color. Page EX 151 to format the What If Assumptions table. Step 1. Select cell A18. Change the font size to 8 point. Italicize and underline the text in cell A18. We can do just in the font group in the Home tab. The little underline U and the italic I. And then select the range A19 to B25 and change the font size to 8 point. Select the range, this is step 5 on page EX 151, select the range A18 to B25 and then click the Fill Color button in the Home tab in the font group to apply the most recently used background color to the selected range. Click the Font Color button, step 6, to apply the most recently used font color to the selected range. Step 7 on page EX 151, deselect the range A18 to B25 and display the What If Assumptions table as shown in the book on page EX 151, figure 3-50. And save the workbook if you haven't already. Page EX 151, adding a clustered column chart to the workbook. Step 1 on page EX 152 to draw a clustered column chart on a separate chart sheet using the recommended charts feature. Step 1. Select the range A3 to G3 to identify the range of categories. Hold the Control key and select the data range A9 to G13. Oops. So start with A3 to G3 selected, and then with the Control key held down, select the data range A9 to G13. Display the Insert tab. Click the Recommended Charts button in the Insert tab in the Charts group to display the Insert Chart dialog box with the Recommended Charts tab active. You can experiment by clicking the various recommended chart types, reading the description for each of its best use, and examining the chart preview. Page EX 153, Step 2. Click the first clustered column recommended chart to select it, and then click the OK button in the Insert Chart dialog box. When Excel draws the chart, click the Move Chart button in the Chart Tools Design tab in the Location group to display the Move Chart dialog box. Click New Sheet, Move Chart dialog box in the Move Chart dialog box, and then type Expense Chart in the New Sheet text box to enter a sheet tab name for the chart sheet. Step 3 on page EX 153, click the OK button in the Move Chart dialog box to move the chart to a new chart sheet with a new sheet tab name, Expense Chart. Page EX 154, Step 1, to insert a chart title. Click anywhere in the chart title placeholder to select it. Select the text in the chart title placeholder, and then type 6-month projected expenses to add a new chart title. Select the text in the new title and then display the Home tab. Click the Underline button in the Home tab in the Font group to assign an underline format to the chart title. Click anywhere outside of the chart to deselect it.